it's time to hit the mark. This that show you need to know about. We set ourselves apart. Sports talk at the pinnacle. We got all the knowledge, covering every level, helping these young men get to college. Got the coverage of a DB, vision of a QB coming at you like a DN. Let all of that sink in. Working in the weight room, we can't take no days off. Doing drills when they not looking, that's what make us stand out. Don't worry about how much time is left, we got it planned out. Execution, elite footwork, nasty when we running routes. Accuracy off the chain, we've been on it from the start. Reaching for the sky, hitting the bullseye, we on the mark.
What it do? We up. It's Wednesday. You know what it is. The On Your Marc Show, powered and sponsored by Epic Sports Apparel, live from the Fishbowl Radio Network Studios. Listen, I already told y'all yesterday. I told y'all this morning. I told y'all on the way here. Y'all need to listen up. Tape this, record it, whatever. It's going to be on YouTube later. This is my guy, man. Been doing this for years, man. First of all, appreciate you for coming through. This is a guy that's very, very busy, and for him to take the time to come out on the show, he's going to drop some gems today. If you got a DB, a defensive player, or just a guy, a kid, girls, anybody, functional movement, we're going to talk about all that today. Clay Mack skills in the building. What it do, baby?
What's up, baby?
Man, chilling out, man. Appreciate you coming.
Long
Coach, yes, sir. Yes, sir. We're trying to catch
boy SD.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Listen, man, Coach, how did you get in the game as far as – so first let's go a little bit further back. Talk about your playing days, where you played ball at, college, collegiately, and what led you into coaching.
Well, I'm a local kid. Went to Kimball High School. Prior to that, I'm from West Dallas. There were a lot of people don't know that I was actually raised in the projects in West Dallas. And then we moved to Oak Cliff. I ended up going to T.W. Brown Middle School. But I was in West Dallas every weekend. I mean, that's where my best friends were and my family and the whole nine. And then ended up going to Kimball High School. So that's where I graduated from. Played basketball there. Played varsity basketball actually 4 years there. Played some freshman ball, then, you know what I'm saying, got moved up, played some JV, then got moved, you know, that type of deal or whatnot. And then my senior year, we actually won state in basketball. Played with Coach Snoop. A lot of people know Coach Snoop, that coached over at Kimball. And my partner Bam is the head coach over there now.
Yeah, we're going to get into that before.
Yeah,
for sure. Shout out to Bam.
Yeah, that's my dog.
Yes, sir.
That's my dog.
Yes, sir.
The entire crew over there, lights out.
Yeah, absolutely. D-Rob, Big D-Rob, you know, everybody over there. But and we fresh off a basketball state championship too.
No doubt.
Absolutely. I got shout out.
Absolutely.
Well earned.
I got
well earned.
Yeah, no
shout
doubt.
out to KK.
Yeah.
But but from there, went to Kimball High School. Played football as well, you know, naturally. Was a two-time All-American in high school. Made All-American at receiver my junior year, made All-American at quarterback my senior. And matter of fact, me and Bam made All-American together. And then from there, I was actually a Prop 48, man. So I went to UNLV out of high school, University of Nevada, Las Vegas out of high school. A lot of the big schools peeled up off of me. I was probably going to Michigan, maybe Auburn, you know what I'm saying, or whatnot. But big schools peeled up off of me when I wasn't eligible. So finally made my ACT score, but it was too late at that point. So UNLV swooped in, went there, with a couple of buddies, and made All-American as a freshman. Made the freshman All-American team, broke a school record with pass breakups, went to DB. I got recruited as an athlete coming out of high school, though. Put me at DB, and my first DB coach actually was Chuck Pagano. I would say that was my first DB coach.
No doubt.
Yep. But the guy who really kind of put me over the top with it, man, is a guy named Kim Dameron, Robert Kim Dameron from Arkansas. Man, talking about technically sound, played DB himself, a white guy, you know what I'm saying, and whatnot. So, you know how we'll be looking at things the wrong way, you know what I'm saying? And,
absolutely.
You know, we were at practice one day, man, and I messed up on a jam or something. He moved me out the way, and this spring ball, he moved me out the way, and let me show you what I'm talking about, and one of them type of deals, man. And he had his regular shoes on, he had a hat on, you know what I'm saying? So people wonder why I wear the hat, whatnot. I get that from him, you know what I'm saying, and whatnot. So, man, he covered this kid, man, and he ain't even let him out the line of scrimmage. And, like, we on the sideline like Smokey on Friday, like, damn, like, you know, one of them type of deals.
No doubt.
And so he pulled me in and made me believe it. You know what I'm saying? So he talked through it, and that what really kind of put me on my whole functional movement, biomechanical movement type of deal. Because I've always been a twitchy kid, but I couldn't explain it, though. Like, you know what I'm saying? So knowing it and not being able to explain it is two totally different things.
No doubt.
Absolutely.
So he started kind of making me say, hey, look, with your feet and your twitch, no way you should be getting beat at the line and blah, 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 and do this right here, and where's your balance at, and blah, blah, blah. So he started going all that stuff with me. and it just intrigued me. You know what I'm saying? And my first sport growing up in West Dallas was boxing. You know, everybody in the neighborhood in West Dallas boxed. I mean, you fought.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It is what it is. So,
Right.
So with the twitch and all that stuff kind of came, I ain't gonna say naturally, but I had a conscience about it. You know what I'm saying, and whatnot, because we always wanted to be twitchy. You know what I'm saying? Especially like, being in boxing and stuff like that. So I just carried over my old skill sets from, climbing trees and bikes and, running and chasing and all that type stuff in the hood. We didn't have phones and all that type stuff and whatnot, so we had to make up our own games.
Right.
You know what I'm saying, and whatnot, right? And once you come in the house, you got to stay in the house.
No doubt.
You know what I'm saying? And we creep out the house at 7 in the morning. You ain't going to see us until 7 at night. You know what I'm saying? That type of deal.
Right.
So within all that time, you kind of figure out how to preoccupy yourself.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So once I started training, I just kind of put all that stuff in the same bucket, whatnot. But to go back to the college stuff and all that, stayed at UNLV for 2 years, transferred to Mississippi State. My strength and conditioning coach, a guy named Dan Austin, he got the strength and conditioning coach job down in Mississippi State with Jackie Sherrill. Jackie Sherrill, the former Texas A&M coach,
Yes, sir.
was the head coach. They actually met on the airplane, and they hit it off, and he offered Coach Austin the job, and Coach Austin took it, and that was my guy. You know what I'm saying, and whatnot. So one thing lead to another, and I ended up transferring down to Mississippi State, and that's where I finished at.
No doubt, man. Listen, so before we get deep into things, we talk about this all the time, Coach. Kids don't get outside no more. I listen to all that things. That was part of my childhood as well. We climbed trees. We got out. Sun up to sundown. You know what I'm saying? That develops your competitive aggressiveness. Because if you go outside, man, you can't be no punk. Just flat out. You know what I'm saying? Boxing, everything. You know what I'm saying? You have to have those intrinsic things. That's learned behavior as an adolescent that I don't think kids see anymore, Coach.
Man, we talk about this extensively. You don't have very many neighborhoods now where you walk outside and
see kids just
you see
outside.
pickup games. Whether it's football in the winter, basketball in the summer. Just kids in a parking lot at a school. And just saying, hey, you first. I pick you first, or I don't pick you at all.
Right.
That's how we had to get it as kids, and that's how we learned that grit. You wanted to get better. God forbid you didn't get picked because it's like, oh man, now I'm not good. So now I got to go back to the lab and work harder.
Yeah.
Everything is so accessible for kids at home. They go outside for 5 minutes, 10 minutes. Oh, it's too hot. It's too this. And then everything is structured now, right? You have everything from structured training to structured, we got to go do this at this time. We got to go do this at that time. Versus when we were growing up, man, you better go outside.
On the fly.
Don't come back to the street lights. Come on.
No doubt.
Go find something to do.
Absolutely.
No structure. Just
Drinking
go do
out
it.
the water hose, the whole nine.
Absolutely.
The whole nine.
All of it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I think somehow, some way, maybe it's our fault as adults because we got away from that.
Yeah, no doubt.
From going through it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But I think it's still some of us out there that, say, not lock the door, stay.
Right.
And now we live in, of course, a different society. So it's a little different. But I think that's what made a lot of us such fierce competitors back then. But I would love to say, I was shocked one day riding through the Soto, pulled up past the park and was like, whoa, it's like 30 kids out there. Like, man, I had to stop and whoa, like I don't see that often.
Right.
So it's rare, but I think kids would benefit a whole lot more just by getting out and learning. Of course, we teach skipping. Kids don't even know how to skip, so why even teach it?
Jump rope.
Yeah. Don't know how to do it.
Yeah.
The majority of kids I run across can't jump, can't skip.
Right.
And it's like, wow, that is the foundation of movement.
Right.
And speed.
Right.
We did that all day, every day.
Right.
All day.
And I think that's the thing that's lost on it. It could be that we pacified them, as parents, you know what I'm saying? Putting a phone in front of them, putting a game in front of them, giving them things to take their mind away so we could do what we want to do, but babysitting them. You know what I'm saying?
Well, the thing about that also, though, is that I think just like, I don't necessarily think it's us babysitting them per se. I just think it's the evolution of society, though.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I'm saying the phone is babysitting them, devices babysitting.
Devices.
Okay, and that's where I'm going with that, though.
Yeah.
Because think about this. So I grew up in the projects in West Dallas. Some of my buddies didn't even have phones in their house.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And whatnot, right? Okay.
Right.
Now, a homeless person actually could have a phone.
It's true.
No doubt.
You see what I'm saying? So
It's accessibility.
So I'm just saying, like, exactly. You know what I'm saying? Like, I drove through West Dallas the other day, as a matter of fact, right? I stayed on the street called King Bridge, all right? At the top of King Bridge, or right towards, like, where we call it the shopping center, the shopping area, right? It was a library right on Singleton, okay? I don't even know if the library is still open. You know what I'm saying? That type of stuff. Because now you can get your books on Kindle, or you can just Google it, or you can look it up, or whatever the case may be. So I think the evolution, just the evolution of people in society, to be honest, have kind of evolved us as parents also. You know what I'm saying? To be honest.
Yeah.
My daughter been having a phone since she was 8 years old.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? She lived out of town, but since she was 8. Man, I had buddies that didn't even have phones at all.
No doubt.
I'm talking about at all.
Yeah.
Like,
You
knock
talking
on the
about
door.
a house phone.
The house phone.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Hey.
You had to go knock on the door.
Yeah.
I had to go knock on the door next door.
Yeah.
Can my mom use the phone, or can I use the phone to call her?
Yeah.
Mama, yeah, boy, I don't care. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? One of them
Right.
type of deals and whatnot, right? Yeah. So I just think just how society has evolved. You know what I'm saying? And think about this. Even the era that we grew up in, right? It was more advanced than the era that our parents grew up in.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Right? So I'm just kind of on that kick. And to speak on what you said earlier, kind of off air a little bit or whatnot, in regards to just kind of how the evolution of the athlete, you know what I'm saying, has evolved, or whatever the case may be. And it piggybacks on your point. We didn't have training.
No doubt.
We didn't have training.
No.
I used to have to go outside and watch the OG guys.
Yep.
Right.
And see who was the closest one to
Right.
Tony Dorsett or somebody.
Absolutely.
Or, you know what I'm saying? Hey, man, he did that move just like I just saw
Right.
in the football game. Or
Yeah.
da-da-da-da-da.
Yeah.
And then when they throw us the ball, when they finish, then we try to practice on our little old moves on each other.
Yeah.
That type of deal.
Right.
But I didn't have nobody to say, hey, man, when you stop, man, hey, that elbow, you know what I'm saying, or that shoulder is down, so your weight going to go that way.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You probably need to break this shoulder down when you're running this way, so when you stop, you don't have to transition the shoulder. We ain't have none of that.
None of that.
You know what I'm saying? And whatnot, right? We didn't have no camps.
No.
We didn't have none of that.
Learn the hard way.
Learn the hard way. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah. You get
So-
everything and throw up tackle.
That's it.
You know what I'm
What?
saying?
That's it.
Yeah. Kill the man. That was
hey,
it.
man, look, man. Hey, man. Hey, and we'll play throw up tackle with some paper, sheet of paper.
Everything. Milk
Whatever.
cartons.
a towel,
Anything. Yeah. Yeah.
Hey,
yeah.
shoe hoops in the milk crate.
Right.
Tear the bottom out.
In a trash can.
Tied on a tree.
Yeah.
Man, look, man. We'll get an old rim, bicycle rim. We'll get a little part of. We'll flatten that part out. You know what I'm saying? And then put it on something, nail it.
Nail it. Yep.
You know, make
Just
sure
like
it's
the
stable.
milk crate.
And y'all tell everybody, ain't no dunking.
Ain't no dunk.
Ain't
No
no
dunking.
You dunk, it's over with.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You dunk.
Game over.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
dunk. We kick you out
Yeah,
or whatever
yeah.
the case may
Game
be.
over.
You know, you
Yeah.
can't spoil our fun. So.
Hey,
can't,
man,
man.
flipping on the pissy mattresses. Excuse my language, y'all.
Yeah.
That was the hood.
That was
man.
it.
That was
That was
it.
That's
And I
what
think
made
that's-
us who we were,
I think
man.
there's a lost art in it, but you know, some of these kids are still getting it from the mud, and a lot of times those guys that don't have make it. You know what I'm saying? And make something out of it, and that's the thing that you have to look at when it comes to getting a well-rounded athlete. Some of those things formed athletes. It's like making clay. You know what I'm saying? Pottery. You put it together, and it finally shapes itself out.
Absolutely.
That's exactly what you have in that. You know
Absolutely.
what I'm saying? And that's the point we try to get on the show almost every week. We're trying to talk to the parents to help these athletes, exposure-wise, things they need to get. Now let's get to the nitty-gritty, position-specific thing, movement. You know, we were talking about earlier, you asked a question about, 10 degrees. How do you do it? Getting away from your body and things like that. What led you to really breaking this science down to really, really getting to the nitty-gritty of how you need to move in order to be, successful?
So I just kind of had a conversation with myself one day, to be honest, and said that if I was training me, how would I train myself? Okay. And I came to the conclusion that when it comes to schemes, as an athlete, we learn 200 or 300 plays,
Right.
but you're only going to run about four to six plays in the game, though. You know what I'm saying? All right. And then they do what they call an install at the beginning of the week. And 9 times out of 10, whatever's installed is what you're going to run that week. So you don't have to learn, or you don't have to know all 300 plays.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Or whatnot, right? Coach going to give you, probably let's just say 4 or 5 basic calls, okay? And then you'll have tags off that. You know what I'm saying? If they adjust this, if they'll motion this, and da-da-da-da-da, we'll check to this, whatever the case may be or whatnot. So, and then what I also just kind of realized was that a lot of the in-game adjustments, naturally is done on the sideline, you know what I'm saying, in regards to your scheme, right? So we might play cover 2 a certain way, but they might be, the offensive splits might be a certain way.
Right.
So now instead of the safety maybe being 2 yards outside the hash, he might want you a yard outside the hash, or he might want you 3 yards outside the hash, or something like that. Those are subtle adjustments or whatnot, But at the end of the day, it's still within the same call, though. The call didn't change. You know what I'm saying? Just your assignment kind of changed a little bit. Now, here's the catch-22 with that. If you're 3 yards outside the hash rather than 1 or 2, that means that you're probably an extra step outside then, okay? Do you have the skill set to be able to cover up that step? So a lot of times, coaches have to dumb it down their scheme based on the skill set they have to execute that scheme. You know what I'm saying? So that's where I'm at, you know, in regards to, like, you know, and I'm not an advocate of, you know, trying to create nothing like, you know, skill over scheme and all that old type stuff or whatnot. I'm not into that. You know what I'm saying? Kudos for guys who are scheme oriented or whatnot. All right. But by that same token, to a man though, they'll tell you that I can only open up a certain side of my playbook based on the type of scheme that I have to execute this. You know what I'm saying? That's why recruiting is so critical, and that's why the draft is so critical. You know what I'm saying? All right? Those coordinators are trying to find guys that he can open up that other side of the playbook he ain't open up in a year or 2 or 3. He want to dust that side of it off, you know what I'm saying, and whatnot, right? And go get a Zay Flowers or somebody, you know what I'm saying, who finna be a matchup problem in the slot. You know what I'm saying? You know, stuff like that. Whatnot.
Right.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So, or go get a lockdown corner type of kid to where now, now I can roll my safety over to the backside guy who maybe not as good, so we can help him. You know what I'm saying? You know, stuff like that. So I'm big on the skill side of it. I'm real big on that.
No doubt. And listen, when you talk about the skill side of it, it's deeper than just what's on paper. You know what I mean? And I think that people really miss the product or miss it if they're not really just into it. You know, Coach, you talk about these things with functional moving all the time, and he just kind of broke it down. Piggyback off of that.
Well, the movement part, and he and I talked for hours and hours and hours about just how we're in love with it, you know, because it really develops, you know, the type of players that can last, you know, in sport, and something that we never learned growing up, and just learning it, picked up on it, but being able to really understand any scheme and play within that, when you have that ability to tell your body, hey, this is what I want you to do, and then activate it and do it. Most kids are very athletic, but when it comes to high coordination, meaning I'm going to send that signal to my body every time and it's going to execute, that's high coordination. Not everybody can do that. You can be highly skilled, but highly coordinated is a different animal. So those guys that the coaches want, that we can say, hey, I know I can leave him over there. That's a highly skilled, highly coordinated, and a high IQ guy. All of those things packaged in one. And that doesn't happen just by, you know, just waking up.
Right.
That stuff has to be honed at a very, very high level.
Right.
So that's so important, and I try to tell parents all the time, you know, if you start early, you don't want your kid to always be the best right now. You want them to last.
Right.
So teaching those skills, those super motor skills, and how the brain and body work will help them last longer, right? Funny thing, a lot of people say, you know, how this dude gets to the NFL, he was poo-poo back in high school, right? Functional movement. He kept working. He kept working. And guess what? He got there and he lasted, because now his movement is so efficient. He knows where to be, how to get there, and he's going to last a lot longer because it's not a lot of wasted movement. As super athletes, without that, we waste a lot of movement because we try to make up for what we don't know by using extra speed, extra this, extra that, versus being a kid that's not fast and I know exactly where to be. It's that science of it, right? It's understanding math and angles, right? But then how does it translate? Right. So that's what all that stuff is. But teaching it to DBs at a very high level, and the sauce is what it is, right? And not everybody can teach it until you get in and actually learn you first, right? You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
You have to be able to learn you, and then you have to have that mind-body connection in order to push that.
Right. I think that's where a guy like Darrell Reeves was so successful, you know,
Absolutely.
Hall of Famer.
Highly coordinated.
Highly coordinated. Wasn't the fastest guy, you know, when you go and put him on paper, you put him in a, you know, combine type.
Ray Lewis.
Never really ran real fast. But
he was always there.
Now, Ray Lewis understood angles. You know what I'm saying? He knew how to beat you to a spot.
That's functional movement.
That's functional movement. You know what I'm saying? Look at those two guys and take that and put it in there, and that's the key to success. It's not always about a guy being super, super fast, but how you get there and how you make sure that you're in the right space at the right time. is the thing that you teach. That's the thing that you teach. And I think that's the thing that we're trying to get across today, with that particular message to parents, players, to help the parents, is you got to have all of this to be the total package.
But it's not pretty.
It's not pretty.
It's not pretty.
There's a lot of work that goes into it.
It's a process.
Not pretty. It's a process.
I tell all of my new clients, right? I get it that we live in a right now society.
Absolutely.
I get it.
You can't have it right now. Not
look,
this.
This right here, though, this skill development stuff, Walmart don't sell this. They don't. They just don't.
Right.
It's not on Aisle 5. It's not on a throwback special.
Yeah.
It's not none of that. It's not on your app. It's not in the app store. You can't download it either. You actually have to work on this, right? So I tell all of them, parents and athletes alike, because one thing I try to do is be transparent with both of them. I don't have a separate conversation with the athlete than the parent. We once we start training together, we're a team. So everything need to be transparent, right? And I tell them straight up, this is a process, okay? If you go to a trainer or go to anybody that's trying to teach your kid, right, and they don't tell you that it's a process,
they're taking your money.
they're taking your money.
Yep.
I'm trying to tell you.
Highway robbery.
It's a process. Because we're sitting up here talking about, you guys mentioned guys like Ray Lewis, for instance, right? Okay, well, what did he do when he come out in every game at home, especially? He did the Ray Lewis dance, right?
No doubt.
When we just talking about rhythm, balance, and coordination,
We get into it.
did he look like he was out of rhythm?
Right.
Or didn't have no balance and coordination? No, that's why he can get to spots.
Right.
That's why.
Right. Yeah, I mean, that's exactly what we're talking about. We're talking about off air, I think to be, a high level, functional movement type athlete, you have to be able to dance. If you can't cut a rug, then I don't think you're gonna be able to do it.
It's hard.
It's simple.
It's tough.
You know what I'm saying?
It's
And
tough.
I think that's the thing.
It's
Going
tough
up
deal.
and out here, you got to step up. Breakdancing was big. You got to step up. Boys will challenge you. Anybody will challenge you.
You better listen.
You got to step up. You know what I'm saying? From windmilling to running man, anything. Running man is functional movement.
It's functional movement.
You know what I'm saying?
Anybody know me from St. Louis, they know I traveled breakdancing. I got paid to do it as a kid. So
No doubt.
that goes back to my athleticism.
No doubt. No, I'm
Ask
saying.
about me.
No doubt. I mean, in multiple sports, you talked about playing multiple positions
Absolutely.
as well
Yep.
at an early age.
Absolutely.
You didn't
And that was the
specify
key.
right. You didn't specify until you got to the collegiate level. You know what I'm saying? Boxing, different skill set,
Yep.
different
My first
intrinsic
sport.
muscles. Right.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? You have to have that. I think boxing, as far as the DB, you have to have that hand play.
Oh, my
you know what I'm
God.
saying?
You-
Talk
you-
about
you
that.
got to.
Receiver, too.
Well, and the thing about it too is
Absolutely.
that sometimes I get
And
in my
attitude.
session, I might demonstrate sometimes get in my session, right?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Whether it's another receiver, that's in the facility, or is one of my guys, we kind of go, mimic the receiver. Mimic the wide receiver releases or something like that, right? And the one thing that I do that stands out to the kids, what they've told me is that once I get up to press, and whatnot, right? One only thing I'm doing is reacting to my keys, okay? And once I react to my keys, now it's about my hand speed if I want to touch you, though.
Right.
Okay? Because the misconception is the line of scrimmage is a yard or half a yard or wherever the ball is at, whatnot, right? I get that. That's a natural line of scrimmage. But the line of scrimmage for DBs is 5 yards. They give us 5 yards to touch this guy.
Right.
Whatnot, right? All right.
Right.
So I don't ever understand why kids get beat within the first yard or 2 or 3 when you done forfeited the rest of the yards to cover the 5 yards or whatnot, right?
Yeah.
So the thing about it, I tell guys, even when you use your hands, though, you have to be twitchy with your hands. So I have a couple of drills that I do, and I challenge my guys in regards to their hands, and it all relates to boxing, though. You know what I'm saying, and whatnot, right? If I can get off before you, okay, well, you're in trouble.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Or I'm going to make you react to me.
Right.
Right? So if I go, you know what I'm saying, and whatnot, right? My, you going to swipe or something. Yeah, but I done pulled it back by now.
Right.
Well, if you was a 4-4 kid, you're not 4-4 swiping, though.
Right.
So I done took you from a 4-4 to a 4-6-5 or 4-7 or whatever.
Because you got to think about it.
Now I can handle you now. Because I don't have to handle the 4-4 right off the line of scrimmage.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I'm just kind of put some in your life. I'm saying a little bit. But yeah, man, the hand speed stuff, the twitchiness with your feet, and the coordination, all that stuff. I mean, it's like you say, it's rhythm, balance, and coordination stuff.
Right.
And you have to understand what make you twitchy. So, for instance, when I'm pressing, I make guys understand when we talk about the biomechanics of humans. Okay. Your body gonna move when your hands move.
Absolutely.
Type stuff, right? So when receivers cross their hands in a receiver stance, in order for him to run, he got to uncross them.
Got to uncross.
As
You're in
soon as
trouble already.
As soon as he start to uncross them, I at least start my technique, whether I'm jamming him up or whatever the case may be or whatnot, but I start my technique or whatnot. But the problem is this, though. A lot of guys are not even taught what makes a human move. What makes it move?
Right.
Okay? You'll never see nobody walking around society with their arms just straight Now, when we walk, we have a natural gait. Okay, well, when I run, my arms and my hands has to activate the rest of my body, that type of stuff, right? So if I'm looking at his chest, his what we call center mass, or if I'm looking at his throat, if I'm looking at his waistline, if I'm looking at his armpits, if I'm looking at the front or the back knee, these are all the places I teach my guys to look at and press.
No doubt.
No matter where you're looking at, I still can see your hands and my peripheral though.
Right.
Okay. All right. Because your chest is not gonna move without your hands moving.
No
Absolutely.
doubt.
You know what I'm saying?
Can't.
Nothing is
Absolutely.
not gonna move without your hands moving, right?
Right.
So long as I see your hands move off my peripheral, I can start my technique. Okay. All right. Now I'm ahead of the game. You know what I'm saying, or whatnot, right? Same thing with quick jamming. A lot of guys don't know how to quick jam necessarily because they don't understand what makes the body move first. So they try to wait for the receiver to move, and then now you're trying to go to quick jam. Man, what if he speed release you though?
Right.
Now you're going to quick jam air now because he's slipping on the side of you. He's leaving you. You know what I'm saying, or whatnot. So I hear my guy, I say, man, look, man, you got to look in at the ball because that's what he's looking at.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? When the ball move, you move.
And at the core, Clay, we know it's a lot of times kids have to get all that information. That's a lot of information.
To ingest, yeah.
Right.
Sure.
Number one, I have to make my body do exactly what it's supposed to do, but I'm also watching what this person does.
Right.
Them signals get crossed up and you cook.
Sure do.
You see what I'm
Sure
saying?
do.
Quickly.
You
Yeah.
cook. And
Off the game.
And people don't really understand why Boogie was always so good is because I taught him not only himself, but I taught him how to look. Even my kids, and I watch a kid in warm-up. I taught all my kids this.
Exactly.
Watch them in warm-ups,
Trying to
and
tell
you're
you.
going to see how to beat them.
That's why we
because
like
you
to
see
get
how they
to
move.
games
It's
early,
only
man.
so much the body can
Absolutely.
do.
Because he gonna do the same
It's
exact
only
thing
so much
in the game
the
warm-up.
body can do.
Man, I used to do it in college, to be honest. So like for the most part, if this the 50-yard line, the DBs will be on that end by the 50, but the other team receivers will be on this end by the 50. You know what I'm saying? A lot of times, right? And I do my drill, pop, 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 boom, 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 coach throw it, boom, catch. When I throw it back to him, my eyes go to him. Now, although I've been looking at film all week,
You got to see the movement in
I have to
live.
see it, and I tell my
gotta see
kids
it
all the
live.
time. Not only do I need an on-field scout, a visual scouting report like from film.
Yeah.
I need an on-field scouting report. So what I just do in the game, I motor a guy like in press. I motor him, I open up and let him run, and run with him and say, "Oh, okay, he can run."
Right.
Or, "Oh, he's not that fast."
Right.
You know what I'm saying, and whatnot, right? So I'm getting it
It's
because
chess.
think about it. Back when we played, or at least I played, man, we had VHS tapes and
Yeah,
stuff.
VHS.
Plug
That
it
was
in,
us.
Right?
That
so
was us.
Here's the catch. Here's the catch. All of them didn't operate at the same speed.
Right.
You might have one that's a little bit faster than this one, that's a little bit slower than this one, whatnot. So how can you really gauge how fast he is? You
can't.
don't know.
You
Then
can't.
on top of this, watch this though. But then on top of that, you don't know who he's going against. Who is this guy he's going against?
Absolutely.
How is he comparable to you?
Right.
I
don't
don't know
know
this
that
kid
either.
he going to thank you. I don't
You
know
don't
who this
know that
kid
either.
Yeah.
So I need to get my own scouting report up. Coach might say, well, yeah, he's a fast guy. Okay, but how fast? I'm fast too.
Yeah.
Is he faster than me?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But is he super fast? I mean, I need to know though.
Yeah.
So I need to get that scouting report on field. You know what I'm saying? But now you can't. It's certain things, man, that some people just can't tell you. You know what I'm saying?
You got to find out.
You got to find
Absolutely.
out. It's just like Mike
Absolutely.
Tyson said, "Hey, you got a game plan until somebody punch you on your nose.
Until somebody punch you. That's
Yeah.
it. And then they go out the window. Then you got to fight.
It's either out the window. You got to
Yeah.
make some adjustments,
Yeah.
buddy.
That's it.
You know what I'm
That's
saying?
it.
That type of
and,
deal.
and your
I get
best
it.
athletes are going to be able to adjust consistently and constantly.
Right.
Period. In any
Right.
sport.
Right.
The ones that's going to always be on top, you got to
Right.
keep adjusting.
Right.
You know, anytime somebody throws something at you, it's beautiful. I took Boogie out by himself to one of his training sessions and let everybody get at him.
Sure did.
You know what I'm saying? Just to,
Sure did.
again, always iron sharpens iron.
Everybody.
Right.
I said
Everybody got it.
Everybody.
Right. Yeah.
Go against everybody.
Right.
He was the only receiver there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's watching, but he sat back while they were warming up, watched Clay coach him. He was like, oh, got it. I know what to do.
Yeah.
And he did great.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but sometimes you got to be thrown in the fire. It's like, some people know how to
Constantly.
swim. Throw him in there and see if he function.
Constantly.
You know what I'm saying?
And to piggyback on that point, the thing I admired about Boogie was this. Okay, as conceptually, what if he get into a game, right, and he been watching DB number 5, I'm gonna say, right? Okay, that's they starter, right? Okay, yeah, but in pregame he twisted his ankle though.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, in pregame he twisted his ankle though, right? All right, now they pulled him from the game and then they got to play the backup, right? Well, what if the backup is not on none of the scouting tapes though? Well, now you don't know this kid then.
Right.
You have no idea, right? So that's why it's important for you to kind of get on field stuff with him.
Right.
Because think about early in the game, y'all probably gonna run at a time or two to kind of see what they fronts like and blah 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 blah.
Right.
Yeah, but as a receiver, that's the time that you can block this kid though,
Right.
to see what kind of resistance he got.
Right.
You know what I'm saying and whatnot, right? This is the time you really and run off on him and see. Okay, you the backup for a reason though. I need to find out why though, because my scout report didn't tell me that. It usually don't go over the backup. It usually go over the starters. That type of deal, whatnot, right? So that's why I'm out about Boogie. You know what I'm saying, whatnot, right? He came out, he saw a few guys, and the thing I noticed what he did was some guys that he saw that was kind of twitchy. You know, I could tell he kind of run a little bit. He speed released them. Oh, let me get your hips open. Then they come back. Now they got thinking, oh, he might just speed release me. Now he get you a speed release step and then slip your ass though. You know what I'm saying, type of deal. So my little DBs are say, man, he got so man. Yeah, but y'all notice I ain't even over here coaching y'all or nothing like that.
Right.
Because the reason I don't do that stuff too, because I don't never want to be in like a one-on-one environment or sessions like that where we doing releases and and I'm de-coordinating against receivers. I hate when I see trainers do shit like that, man. I mean, I hate that. No, man. Call a route and let him go out there and think on his own, man. You know what I'm saying? Don't be looking, see who the DB is. Oh, that's so. Hey, man, run out so. Yeah, but he's coaching the game, not doing that.
Right.
He's not doing that.
Makes him robotic.
So you're pacifying the kid. So what you're doing as a trainer, though, what you're doing, you're trying to make that kid look good in front of the parents who paying you.
There it is. There it is. No, real talk. There it is.
But then you wonder why it don't translate. You know what I'm saying, and whatnot, right? You know, I'm on IG sometimes, and I flip through and I see these little guys doing these little showcase camps or whatever they doing or whatnot, or these little camps or whatnot, and they letting the DB be so close to where he can touch the receiver. Man, I've never played in no game to where I'm talking about the X receiver, the guy that's supposed to be on the line.
Yeah.
I've never been in a game to where I can reach over and touch him. Man, you ain't never that close to him. Ever.
Right.
Remember, the center got to put the ball out.
It's a line of scrimmage.
And the line judge got to see all the way down the line. He have to see all the way down the line to see this ball. You can't be obstructing that. That means you got to bag your ass up then. So that means that now, all that training you did to where you just touch him right now, and then in the game they bag your ass up something.
Now you're in trouble because you don't know how to react to that.
Right.
You're in trouble.
Right.
Which again, them little things, them little things of preparation, right? And how the game translates from training. So that's why it's so important to make sure that you're doing stuff the right way, and then you learn how to adjust on the fly. You know what I'm saying? Like going out there, I didn't know who was gonna be. I said, man, just call me when you got your dogs. You know, I didn't know if he was gonna get his head knocked off. Or none of that mattered. He was like, dude, we just going to get work. I don't care if I get locked up, whatever, because I'm gonna get better. Period.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And that was the key, because you have to constantly learn. It don't matter who it is,
right.
You know, and you don't go and pick and choose who you go against, because you don't know who you're gonna go against in a game. So we don't do that from day to day. We trying to find great work, period, right? So we can say, hey, my movement against your movement, right? And he left like, man, them DB, he no wonder he coached like, you know what I'm saying? Because them dudes adjust to me,
right?
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And that's the beauty of it, because they gonna get better, and he got better, right? And that's the key.
Well, that's the key to being successful on a higher level. You can't just be, in your same pool of things of thinking. You have to think outside the box, and that's what makes him what he is today. You know what I'm saying? Because in the game, you have to make in-game adjustments.
Right.
There's nothing robotic about that.
No.
The scheme changes as your opponent changes, and who's right in front of you might change. You know what I'm saying? That's where I'd like to get your opinion on this. What do you think about the guys that travel versus the guys that stay on one side of the field? You know what I'm saying? I think the successful guys that have been able to travel, they're more versatile. But a guy that's on one side, just the boundary, maybe they don't do certain things the right way, or certain things that they do well is just consistent on this side.
Well, I think it's a catch-22 with it. Sometimes coaches fall in love with certain guys, you know what I'm saying, or whatnot. So, coach become biased. The thing I tell people all the time is that you can't never alleviate the human element in it. You know what I'm saying? That coach might have recruited this kid. That coach might have played for that kid's high school coach or something, or whatever the case may be. So he might just want to put him in a favorable position. You know what I'm saying, or whatnot, right? So I don't get fooled by that type of stuff, because I've seen situations like that to where they've had a kid to travel, but the best kid was the kid that didn't travel.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So that didn't make sense to me.
Right.
So I like kids to play both sides of it, though. You know what I'm saying, or whatnot. You're not going to play left corner or right corner all your life. That don't work like that. I used to train Byron Jones and Cheeto Awuzie for the Cowboys, right?
Yeah.
When they were the two corners, right? And their scheme or philosophy was to put Cheeto on the left side and Byron Jones on the right side. But when they come and train with me, I do the opposite, though. And I swear for God, man, me and Cheeto just had this talk again about a month and something ago, right before they left, and we regurgitated that situation, right? And I said, Cheeto, remember us having that talk about when you come in, when we train, I'm not going to train you at left corner. I'm going to train you on the right side. He was like, yeah. I said, because I told y'all, whatever team that y'all go to, if the Cowboys don't sign both of y'all, I said, now, both of y'all high-profile guys now. So chances are the Cowboys not going to sign both of y'all. They might sign one of y'all, but not both. Ended up, both of them left. Ended up, right? I said, but wherever you go, either you're going to have to travel with somebody week 5, 6, 8, whatever the case may be, you know what I'm saying, or whatnot, or you're going to be a boundary or a field. It's going to be schematic. They're not just going to put you on the left side and leave you there.
Right.
Okay? That's what I call a one-trick pony. Okay? And when they find out that you can't play on the other side, you're not
done.
a pro.
Yeah, you're done.
You're not a pro.
Yeah,
Right.
Your time is up.
You're not a pro.
Right.
That's how I look at it. So my DB coach always taught me that, we don't play corner or safety. We play DB. So if you need to come off that corner to get in the nickel, well, yeah, but what if you're in the nickel on the opposite side of what you normally starting at, though? Okay, but now you feel like a fish out of water type of deal. You know what I'm saying, or whatnot. So I'm never a big proponent of just putting the guy on one side and say, well, this your best side or whatever the case may be. Nah, I think it should go back to maybe even strength and conditioning staff. What I like to do is try to find out if the kid right-handed or left-handed. Is he pigeon-toed? You know what I'm saying? If he's straight-footed, do he got some sloot in his foot? You know what I'm saying? That type of deal or whatnot. All right? I try to walk in and watch him walk and see what kind of balance he got. When we doing warm-up, okay, what side do we come off the best? You know what I'm saying? Do we go to his right better than the left or the left better than the right? So to be honest, that's how I generate a lot of my drills, just kind of based on what I'm saying in my warm-ups or whatnot. And so when we were talking off the air earlier about drills, I mean, just seeing mighty funny, there's a new sport out here called drill. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, everybody think because it look cute,
Right.
you know what I'm saying, that is going to translate and blah, blah, whatever the case may be. Nah, your drill should come off what your kids can't do, bottom line. So I've had situations where, like, we do a warm-up, and let's just say we pedal open up and go, okay? And if I got 20 kids in the session and 15 of them didn't open up and go like I wanted them to, okay, well, after the warm-up, that's the drill that we do, though, okay? And I start from the front of it to the open-up mechanism of it to how you get up out of there and then how you actually go, right? And then I bag it up. So if there's 4 parts of that, I have 4 drills. And then I make the first drill go into the second drill. And then I make the second drill go into the third, and the third go into the fourth. And then I make them walk through all of it. And then I make them jog through all of it. And then we run it, okay? That might consume the whole rest of the day because I'm not concerned with nothing else if we can't get by that.
Right.
Because
That's a
that's
part
the
of the
life
process.
because
Right.
that's the lifespan of a DB. You got
Right.
to open up and then have to either plant back downhill or open up and transition or whatever the case may be.
Right.
If that part of it is flawed, why are
You're
we
in
doing
trouble.
anything else?
You're in trouble.
Why are
Absolutely.
we doing anything else?
Absolutely.
That makes zero sense to me.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Whatnot, right?
Yeah.
And for me, just based on my experience and watching guys, I don't see enough of concentrated efforts on certain aspects of movement. You know what I'm saying? Hey, that looked good, or that was da. Now you saying that because you want that kid to come back to a session so you can film them, because it's about the aesthetics for you. You know what I'm saying? It's about, I had 30 kids in my session. Yeah, but what did you teach them? I mean,
Window
what did
dressing.
they learn?
Window
Is
dressing.
window dressing, man.
Right.
So for me, like,
But a lot of
I'm
it,
one of the
too-
outcasts in this stuff now. Me and SD,
Absolutely.
because of how we look at it and how we approach it now. You know what I'm saying? But not, look, man, I'm not getting belts no more. Yellow belt and the brown belt and all that stuff, man. No, man. If it ain't sensei stuff for me, man, I don't fool with it. I really don't. And I'm not going down to nobody's level, man, to interact with them. Either you come up here, you know what I'm saying, or I'm going to keep it pushing. I mean, it is what it is. I'm always trying to press the envelope. That's why, again, when me and this guy gets on the phone and we talk about that functional movement stuff, right? 10 years ago, I wasn't talking about functional movement like I am now. I had a conscience about it, but then I had to say to myself, if you got a conscience about it, how are you acting on your conscience, though? Are you really acting on your conscience, though?
That's it right
You know what
there.
I'm saying? And whatnot, right? So me and D-Rob had the same conversation one day, and then I just told him, I said, man, the conversation I had with myself was, if I was training me, how would I train me, though? Okay? How would I really train me? I would start off with my stance, my balance in my stance, okay, and then my pedal, my balance in my pedal, and then my brakes and my transitions, and then any kind of movements that I might have to do. I do clock breaks, okay, so I make my guys break 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, all the way around the clock, because most DB trainers or coaches, they make their guys break on 45s and 90s, okay, all right, and y'all see it all the time.
Yeah, that's how it's been coached for you.
Here's the catch-22 though. A receiver don't break on a 45 or a 90. He breaks away from the DB.
Right.
So he don't even know his angle until he come out the break.
Right.
So that means that between 45 or 0 and 45 is 44 different angles. When are you breaking on those angles? When are you working on those angles though? You're not.
Great information. Y'all better hear
You know
this.
what I'm saying? You're not. And between 45 and 90 is another 44 different angles. So that's what I'm saying. I do clock breaks. Okay. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40. Yeah, we break around the clock so that we can at least try to incorporate a 5-degree break, a 10-degree break. Because if not, you're going to break on that 45 because you conditioned, but the receiver broke on a 22. That means you're going to start 45, and then you have to break yourself back to the 22. But then now,
that's enough
Boogie,
separation.
Though, somebody
That's
like a
enough separation.
Boogie, somebody like Boogie, though,
Yeah.
done caught that thing and seen you was off your angle, it done spent off you. Now
And he
you have
gone.
to gone.
And I ain't
Yeah.
gone. That's
Now
all
you,
he need.
Now you took it from football to track now.
Right.
It's the 100 meters now.
Right.
You know what I'm saying and whatnot, right?
Right.
But you got out the blocks late.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying and whatnot, right?
No
yeah.
doubt.
So you can't do that. So quick story. Me, D-Rob, and Emmanuel Sanders. Y'all know
Yeah,
Emmanuel
yeah,
Sanders.
sure.
Yeah, man.
Sure. Yeah.
E-Man, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So they was watching E-Man. Okay, D-Rob was training, right?
Yeah.
And E-Man ran a curl. I thought it was a same stem hitch. You know what I'm saying? Ran about 12 yards, and come back down as a 0, just come back right down to your same stem. And so I asked E-Man, I said, say, man, I said, so what was that, a same stem hitch or something? He said, no, Mac. He said, that was a curl. I said, curl? Because, you used to curl. You curl it back in towards the linebacker or whatnot. He said, no. He said, as you look at my release, he said, I peek inside. He said, because I'm seeing where the linebacker dropping. I said, yeah. He said, where he dropped at, he was dropping high. He said, so if I would have took that curl on up and then I would have curled right into
Right to him.
He said, Mac, he said, man, I weigh 180. That backer weigh 230. He said, man, I'm not trying to get hit by him.
Finna
He
send
said,
that
so,
hole.
thank you. He said, so what I did was, instead of curling it to him, he said, I stopped and came right back down my same stem. Quarterback threw it to him. The DB broke on a 45, though, like he was really running the curl. Man, E-Man spent up out that thing towards the sideline and went and got 30. It was a 12-yard ball.
Right.
Then he went and got 30 after he caught it and then stepped out of bounds. I said, oh, E-Man, you're a fool with it. Oh, you're a fool. You know what I'm saying? Whatnot, right? So, again, it puts me in a position to understand that if you do have a conscience about having your guys to break on all these different angles, I'm not saying that he don't catch the ball, but maybe he don't catch it and spin off and get 30, though.
That's the key.
We don't
Yeah,
want the
he can
yak.
catch it. You don't want that yak.
No,
Right,
sir.
right.
You know what I'm saying? And
Right.
E-Man can run. So he
No
went got
doubt.
that 30 fast.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That type of deal. But
Yeah.
right? Yeah. So I'm big on that side of it, in
And that's
relation to the movement
revolutionizing
efficiency.
the position, though.
Right. That's the creation of the option route.
When you think about that, because every camp you go to is 45s, 90s,
Right.
but what about that space in between?
That's right.
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 And again, that's the secret of it, because understanding all you need is a little bit of window, right?
Right.
So as a receiver, if I get that window and I can get skinny, right?
Get
You're in
skinny.
trouble.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's right.
And we see all the time where the really
right.
good receivers gonna get skinny. Okay, good.
Yeah.
Break on your 45.
Yeah.
And I'm right here. Let me catch the ball.
Yeah.
I'm skinny. If you off just a little bit, I'm to the house.
Absolutely.
And real quick too, and to piggyback your point, I don't lean on my own understanding when it comes to that stuff either though. You know what I do?
Absolutely.
I talk to receivers.
That's the only way you're gonna get better.
We were doing pre-draft over at APEC a couple of years ago, right?
Yeah.
Jalen Rager
Yeah.
did his
Rager.
pre-draft over at APEC, right?
Right.
So him and his other kid that was from I think New Mexico State or something. They sit in the DB room with us while we were doing our board work.
Right.
Okay. And I added because I call them breaks 44s and 89s instead of 45s and 90s.
Right.
The reason I do it because I want to get kids out the mindset of thinking 45s and 90s.
Right.
So I call them 44s and 89s. Been doing
Right.
that for years with them,
Right.
right? And so I put 44 and 89 on the board, and they're like, "What's that, coach?" I said, "Y'all watch this." I said, Rager, because Rager like a little nephew to me.
Yeah.
I said, "Say, Jay." He said, "What's up, coach?" Because he asked to sit in there so he can get some DB game.
Right.
I said, "So when you breaking off a comeback or out curl, whatever the case may be," I said, "What angle do you break on?" He put wrinkles in his forehead, like
Ain't breaking on the way.
I'm not understanding the question. Like, coach, I'm just breaking. Like, I'm breaking away from the wherever the DB sitting. I said, thank you. I said, that's why I call them 44s and 89s.
Right.
Because if we break on all the angles leading up to 44, 45, and all the angles leading up to 90, whatnot. All right. And even he said that. He said, you know what, coach? He said, I never thought about it like that. You know what I'm saying? Whatnot.
No doubt.
They have to break to me. I said, exactly. And then even the stuff about breaking to the top side shoulder. See, I'm not big on breaking to the top side shoulder because all receivers don't catch it and turn outside. No.
They don't.
Man, you got to break to a spinal cord. Because the one thing I understand is this. If this is spinal cord right here, if he catch it and turn this way, he going to bring that shoulder.
Right.
If he catch it and turn that way, he bringing that shoulder.
Right.
But if this the outside shoulder and he break to this outside shoulder and he turn this way, ain't nothing over it, man. The shoulder gone.
Yeah, you're in trouble.
Yeah.
You're in trouble.
Yeah.
You're in trouble.
Right.
But again, breaking to that spinal cord is going to suggest an angle. That might not be 45 or 90.
But you might have to be athletic enough to it, but at least you have a key and a spot to say I'm close enough versus looking at something that's going to get skinny and disappear.
Right. Thank you.
Right.
You know
So that's huge.
Right.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So I do drills that's consistent with that type of stuff. You know what I'm saying, and whatnot, right? And to be honest, man, I mean, I only like to attract, people that's interested in that. I get it, and I'm an outcast these days.
You got to be. You
know what I'm
have
saying,
to be a
and
thinker.
whatnot. I totally
be a
get it.
thinker.
Yeah, you have to be a thinker. So if you're a traditionalist, you know what I'm saying, and whatnot, I mean, I might not intrigue you from a drill perspective and whatever the case may be or whatnot, but I can watch somebody's drill and say, I don't see where that's functional. Or I can watch somebody going through drills and say, hey, man, nah, man, when you start the back pedal, man, your back foot went backwards first. So when your back foot goes backwards, your whole body got to go. So your balance is off right now.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? How you
And
going
that's
to be
all it takes.
That's
So
all
a
that-
high level receiver. That's
Man,
if
look,
I
man.
see that as a receiver, especially ones that's smart enough to know they can see everything in front of them. You know,
Well, because receivers
That's a
watch
wrap.
film, they watch film and break
Absolutely.
down DBs just like how we try to break them
Movement,
down. So,
tendencies, everything.
Yeah, everything.
If you're not doing it, you're not successful. You know what I'm saying? The games are going out to play with your eyes closed. When I say not being up on game, having your cheat sheet, having your own thing. That's why
them days over.
That's why I like to get to games an hour or two early. I can kind of see right away. Okay, this guy's that. Without some of we're talking about guys that I don't know. Now I know certain guys I know.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? But I get to the game early so I can see how they move. And I can say, okay, well, yeah, let me watch him and let me watch him. That's from offensive line to
do it
quarterback
every
to
week.
everything. I do it every week.
Every
you know what I'm
week.
saying? And that's the key to being successful when it comes to position-specific things. You know what I'm saying? Now, Coach, we're running out of time. Where can you be found? I know you have a website, social media, and everything. Man, listen, we're going to have to come back and do this again. You know what I'm saying? Because we left a lot of meat on the table.
That was part one, man.
Yeah, no doubt. We're going to do this again. We're going to do this again.
Man, I hope y'all got some
I hope y'all got this.
What we need to do, in my opinion, man, we need to do a forum.
I
can do
agree.
it.
I agree.
Yeah,
We can do it. Say less.
we need to do a forum. You know what I'm
I
saying,
agree.
and whatever we need to do, man, to pay for the extra time or whatnot. I'm all in on that. You know what I'm saying?
No
Just
doubt.
because you guys know.
Yeah.
Because when we get in positions like this where like it's this type of knowledge, you know what I'm saying, in one sitting.
Yeah.
Just like you said, it's not enough time sometimes.
not enough
you know what I'm
time.
saying, or whatnot, right? And it need to be segmented because a lot of this stuff need to be talked about because
Right.
it's not being talked about.
Right.
And there's a lot of people that's pulling the wool over a lot of people's eyes for people that don't know.
Yeah.
And the way the competition is going now, as far as collegiate sports and all this shifting, right? It's now more important for kids to understand you got to go to college ready. You got to go to college ready. Otherwise, they got this house called transfer portal
Man,
gonna
look,
be
man.
waiting on you.
The days of the red shirt are almost gone.
Man,
It's
you
almost
better
gone.
go.
It's almost gone.
You better
Almost
go
gone.
ready.
You got to be ready.
No, you
got to be ready.
You got to go ready.
Yeah.
You got to be ready.
You can't wait no more. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and what's rewarding, man, is that being around people that understand that and that speaks that language.
Yeah.
Oh my God, because I tell my guys all the time, man, the best college team in the country is the transfer portal.
Absolutely. That's it. Because everybody there.
Ready-made free agents.
Everybody
You know what I'm
there.
saying? And it's
That's
like
who
the
you
Wild
compete
Wild
against.
West.
That's who you
Today,
compete against.
today there's 8,000 kids in the portal. Right now today.
And
8,000.
I told some guys that recently. I said, man, when we checked it about a year or so, a little bit over a year or so ago, it was 3,000 kids in it. It's 8,000 kids in there now, man. 8,000. I mean, like,
And the season about to start.
and the season
and
about to
play.
start.
Boys at home.
And it's still guys out there looking for homes, man. I mean,
Right.
like, on the cool. But by the same token, I got some texts in my phone right now when a college coach hit me up and say, hey, Mac, I'm looking for a transfer portal kid. not a high school kid though. Like, you know what I'm saying? So I tell my high school kids, you're
gotta be
competing with
ready.
not only your teammates and your
But
kids
the
in your district.
transfer portal as well.
That's who you competing with, the transfer portal.
Well, I think that's why you see the class of 2024. They committed a lot earlier.
They have to.
They have to.
You got to.
Otherwise, you won't have nothing sitting there.
No.
You'll go to the table and it's empty.
Right.
No.
You better.
Yeah, the trash is gonna be taken out.
It's,
All the big time schools, man, they done in January, man. They not
Oh,
waiting
absolutely.
they're not waiting on nobody. That's the new
Absolutely.
signing day.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Or whatnot,
That's
right?
why they created that one in December now.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
The December signing day, man, they're done. I mean,
Yeah.
I said January, but I meant
Yeah, I
December.
know what you mean.
Yeah, the early one,
that's
man,
it.
they don't sign nobody
After
else after
that.
that.
Oh yeah. After that, you can move around.
Yeah.
Well, listen, man, we're gonna bring this back. I'm gonna definitely get this guy back. If you didn't get all of this, you need to type it, record it, whatever. It'll be up on the On Your Marc Show YouTube channel shortly. Listen, man, my dude Clay Mack skills, man. Lots of gems dropped today. Of course, Coach J is in the building every week, man. We up on Wednesdays from 11 to 12 right here in the Fishbowl Radio Network, man. We in the DFW, and we all over, man. Listen, tap in. We appreciate you listening to us today, man. Shout out to my dude Jackie Bridges, my dude J Mack, you know what I'm saying? Pat Botizzi tapping in, Scott Keys. I saw all of y'all guys.
Appreciate y'all.
Share it, man. We appreciate y'all. Man, my dude Minor Mike is going to take us out. Tap in with him on Instagram.
Hey, ready, set, go. It's time to hit the mark. This that show you need to know about. We set ourselves apart. Sports talk at the pinnacle. We got all the knowledge, covering every level, helping these young men get to college. Got the coverage of a DB, vision of a QB coming at you like a DN. Let all of that sink in. Working in the weight room, we can't take no days off. Doing drills when they not looking, that's what make us stand out. Don't worry about how much time is left, we got it planned out. Execution, elite footwork, nasty when we running routes. Accuracy off the chain, we've been on it from the start. Reaching for the sky, hitting the bullseye, we on the mark.